We're going straight into it with Ashley. Ashley, are you ready?
Oh my God, I am. I'm totally blown away. That was amazing. I only got the tail end of it. Oh, the people that you bring to your platform and to your community are like seriously amazing. So hats off to you.
Thanks. I thank you very much. I wish I had a. I mean, we have great events and all that stuff, but I think at the end of the day, we all go back to being so busy running the store or running the tech company because we have a lot of tech providers as well. And so, I'm a little bit jealous of Tom's community because it sounds like they're
I
bringing
want to
each
go
other
hang out in the
together. And
community.
yeah, I
Sign
think
me
it's
up.
something to aspire to, and so maybe I'll be able to take some of these pieces of advice and figure out how we can all come together and take a moment to breathe after an event like this. People just get ramped up, they try and execute on too many things, and then of course
Yeah.
something's going to get neglected or explode, and then it's like, well, when do we actually have a time for a happy hour? But hopefully we'll figure out a way to do that and have some time to come together and take a minute. But all right, I'm just gonna pass it over to you if you want to share your screen. I'll bring it up here, and we're gonna go into image
Yeah.
and branding and storytelling with Ashley. We saw her yesterday. We talked about this product branding and packaging and bringing customers over from Amazon. Today, she's given us the whole session and the secret that she's uncovered for branding and imagery and all that. So here's the slides, and I'm just gonna step away.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I can put this in present mode and you guys can still see it because I can't see you. So please let
Looks
me
good.
see
Looks good.
that. Okay, fabulous, perfect. You never know how these things work. Technology is a beautiful thing until it's not. So hi, everybody. For those who don't know me, my name is Ashley Armstrong, and I'm the e-commerce hidden rules expert. And at the end of the day, I help companies find the money they're leaving on the table through my visual profitability method, which is using the science behind images to increase sales and conversion rates, just to kind of dumb it down. But today, we're going to really sort of dive into what that means, the image branding and storytelling to increase your sales and your conversions for those who are selling online. So bear with me as I speed through this because I know we have a time constraint here today. But if you have any questions, please throw them into the chat. We can always reach back out to you. But we're going to be covering your customer avatar, just the bare minimum basics of that, why visuals are so important, articulating your brand, products clearly, listings that are built for conversion, and then, of course, into the next step. So here's just a really quick sort of like overview that I really want to make sure people are paying attention to when they're diving into how to clearly articulate who they are and what they do online in order to be able to get the message across to the consumer as fast as possible so they can make that educated buying choice. So to identify this, you're going to look at your attributes. And of course, I have some examples here on the page. So the attributes could be a female who's overweight. They've tried a bunch of tactics already, the age 30 to 50, the demographic, where they're living, their aspirational identity. They want to have a healthy, slim figure. And then we dive into their pain points, the products that they've tried before, they don't work, they feel confused. And then we go into the problems, your external, your internal, and your philosophical. We have to look at all of these aspects because sometimes people make a choice to purchase for a reason and then choice not to purchase for a reason, and then there's the internal reason was what they're not telling you why they did not try end up buying from you. So you really want to dive into really understanding who it is that we are selling to, who we are helping, the problems that we're solving for these individuals. And of course you want to have your hook, and depending on your product, obviously here I have like melt your fat with one bite at a time, and then the outcome, be swimmer ready all year long. So this is sort of like the information, the overview that you definitely need to have for every single product that you are selling. And you really want to make sure that every single team member that you are working with or your hired contractors know exactly the who, what, where, how, why, and when in this information. And the reason why it's so important, and this is what we're going to be diving into today, is people do not buy products online. They buy the pictures of your products online, and they buy the pictures of your brand. And it's really, really important that we really dive into that, because I think it's not rocket science. A lot of people know the importance of visual representation. A lot of people know how important it is to have good pictures on your product listings or your Instagram account or so on and so forth. But what I have found in the decade of doing this, whether I'm working with a $10 million company or a company that's only doing $1,000 a month, a lot of the times what I'm talking about today actually gets missed, or they don't put enough time, energy, and effort into executing it. And because they don't execute it, they're literally leaving money on the table. And I have proven it time and time again with my clients over the years. So if we like dive back, if you go back into 1921, marketers have used images more than text to advertise in their campaigns. And obviously in the age that we are in today, we know how important and relevant that is. So the reason why we know how important and relevant that is because about 10 years ago, we had a 15-minute attention span, and now we have 7 seconds. So with such a small attention span, we need to be able to get as much information across and clearly and articulate as possible in order for the customer to be able to either stay with us a little bit longer and or make a choice to, obviously make a purchase. And this is what's really exciting and really important is a lot of people are like, Ashley, come on, it's 7 seconds. Like that's not enough time to do anything. But actually, it's tons of time to do anything. And here's why. Because the brain can interpret images from the eye in 13 milliseconds. And then, of course, it can process that visual information 60,000 times faster than text. Now, just think about that. We have 7 seconds, but it's 13 milliseconds to identify one particular image and have that correlate with our brain to understand it. There's more than enough time. So we really want to dive into the science behind that and really extract all the information and the customer journey in order to create that story and that brand recognition. So this is the fun thing. I want to have a little fun with you guys. So who here sees a triangle, which I'm pretty sure is pretty obvious. But the fact of the matter is what you're looking at is both sides of this box are technically triangles. The one on the left, of course, is written verbiage on what a triangle is, and the one on the right is an actual triangle. And no one looked on the image, the written text on the left. Everyone looked at the one on the right. So that really just proves the point how quickly we can identify a shape or an object or a visual component compared to the text itself. So, why are images so important for e-commerce? Well, here's some data and some stats that come in. So they increase buyers' attention, trust, and conversion rates. I think everyone's kind of figured that out by now. The listing photo count that increases, the probability of making a higher profit also increases. Higher quality images are correlated to more successful sellers by the consumers. So what aspects of your product presentation increased your customer trust and thus sales the most? Of course, is what we're talking about today, the visual representation that you are showing up online with. So, what makes a customer perceive a product image as untrustworthy? Less images with no information about the product is really what it is at the end of the day. And really, you're looking into the fact that they have confusion. So if we're looking into some stats here, if we have one image, if we have one large image, we're showing a few different images, we know that if we have a slideshow of multiple images, which we just talked about previously, there is a 37.9% conversion rate the more images that you end up having, like sort of more of like a slide deck. And then looking into how the brain and our brain and everything, how it interprets and operates, we know that people are going to remember 20% of things that they read, 10% of things that they hear, but they will remember 80% of what they see. Again, we really want to look into the psychology, how the brain works and buyer behavior. So it's really, really important to remember that we have about 65% of the population are visual learners. And then the other percentages are visual or auditory and kinesthetic. So with online sales increasing daily, the right images can give you the competitive edge, and you need to to really separate yourself from the crowd. So 9 out of 10 times, most product sellers are not properly executing this particular aspect. As I mentioned previously, they put very minimal amount of effort into it. They assume the customers know what the product is. They assume the customers know what they're looking at, how to use it, where to use it, when to use it. And the fact of the matter is that making an assumption like that is just really shooting yourself in the foot. So you really want to take advantage of this because you can very quickly and easily distinguish yourself and separate yourself with that, differentiating factor compared to your competition if you just put a little bit more elbow grease into it. And, so a lot of people are like, okay, yeah, everyone knows you're supposed to have images on your product listings. Actually, like, that's not a really big deal. I totally get it. But, you just keep diving into all this, science behind stuff and going deeper. And this is really why, because a confused shopper never buys. They leave. They can't talk about you. They're never going to know about you. So if they are getting all the information they need to make that educated buying choice, it automatically disqualifies the competition because they don't need to look anywhere else because you've already done the research for them. And then, what you're talking about beforehand, they become organic raving ambassadors because they can remember who you are, what you do, and how you did it. Because again, that visual information sticks inside the brain a lot easier and a lot longer, which means they're able to regurgitate it to their friends and their family. And so when you are very clear about who, what, where, how, why, and when with your particular product using the visual representation, you can very easily and quickly increase your total customer account within a short period of time, as well as your repeat buyers. And we all know that, the next best customer is the one that you already have, because it costs, 5 to 7 times more to be bringing in new customers. And so this is just a quick little analyzing of like what that actually looks like and why it's so important and how it makes such a huge impact on your bottom line. So if we say we're doing a 10% conversion rate, which is 1 out of 10 customers buy from you, let's just say we have an average of 100 daily sessions. Now, no ads, no lead generation, nothing's happening. This is just all organic, what's kind of happening already. If we sell 10 units and the product is $30, that's about $9,000 a month. Again, this is just, umbrella vision. But if we now assume that, again, nothing has changed, everything's all the same, but now we have 1.5 out of 10 people buy, which is now a 15% conversion rate, which is 15 units sold. Now you're looking at $13,500 a month in sales. Let me do that for 2 out of 10 people. So again, the more information you can provide people so they can make that quick and clear, educated buying choice, it makes a massively huge difference, because we went from 9,000 a month with 1 person out of 10 buying, now 2 people out of 10 buying at, same 100 daily sales. Now there's 20 units a day being sold, $13 or $30 a product. Now it's $18,000 per month. So it's so easy to increase your bottom line with just putting a little bit of, time, energy, and effort and elbow grease into that. And this is exactly what happens and why it's so important. In a matter of, less than 60 days, we're able to over double, and actually this account tripled within the next month of literally doing nothing else. No ads, nothing else is happening. We just repositioned their listing so the customers weren't confused, and they made more money. It's really that simple. So creating a story that's, it's really never been easier, because we have so many examples around us to give us like a little bit of a cutting edge. So let's play a little game here. So who can tell me, what this product is just by me describing it? The power of bleach without the damaging side effects of chlorine. Now, this is going to take some people back. It's a stain remover. It's the best. Grass stains, wine stains, grout stains. It's the stain specialist. For those who are 90s babies, you're probably going to know what this is. It's OxyClean. Look at these old schools infomercials, because they do everything that we need to be doing in our listings, but in a video format. But if we break down their video format, it's a really beautiful template that we should be using ourselves when we're creating our own listings and creating the visual representation. So OxyClean here is pretty simplistic. It's a laundry detergent that, helps with the stains. It doesn't destroy your clothes like bleach does. You only need 1 scoop of it. It cleans, it protects, and they've had 1 million sold. So, they're doing, social proof. They're showing how the product works. They're showing, what the pain point, what the problem is, all within a matter of 60 seconds. And then, of course, there are other uses for the particular product. Now, if you look at all that, that's literally a storyboard image outline. But we can go 1 step further, but it's a great template to use. So we want to answer these following questions with our images: what the product is, what the customer pain is, who is the product for, what's included with the product, where is the product used, when is the product used, why is the product used, how do you use the product, and of course the end result after using the product, which therefore comes into your call to action. And then of course you also want to outline your features and benefits. And depending on what platform you're selling on, the features and benefits are weigh more depending on if you're on your website or on third-party platforms. And what I mean by that is when you're on third-party platforms like Amazon, as an example, the features and benefits are compared very heavily, because as a perfect example, someone could be looking for binoculars, but they see this one binocular is $20 and this other binocular is $23, but the other one happens to have, like a compass on it. You may not even know how to use a little compass thing, but the fact is that it has an extra feature to it and it's a little bit more money, or it's even the same amount of money. They're going to go for the one that has extra features, because like, why the hell not? You can, it's there, it's easy. So they do a lot of comparison with your features and benefits. But when it comes to your own personal website, they're not really comparing your product to another product as quickly as if they were on Amazon, because we all know Amazon wants customers to jump to all the different product listings. So they're not as heavily associated with when it's on your own personal website. But really clearly identifying the difference between features and benefits is super important. So there's some examples, of course, here. The characteristics that your product does or has is your features. So some ovens include features such as self-cleaning, smooth stove tops, and then of course benefits are the reasons why the customers want to buy the product or the service. So it's like, benefits of some ovens include safety, ease of use, affordability, so on and so forth. And so the easiest way to be able to quickly and clearly explain the who, what, where, how, why, and when we just talked about is actually using infographics. And most people associate the term infographic with the old school, marketing, as you're seeing here, and that's absolutely true. But we're going to be creating product infographics to be able to get the job done. And this is a perfect example. If you have just a product, you're looking at this thing on the left, like, what the hell is that? I don't even know what that is, unless you were reading the title, and then hopefully the title actually had an accurate description and the title of what it was and who it's for or whatever. You really wouldn't know. So we want to take the most important information and we want to highlight that in an infographic as we're seeing here. We also can, do the same thing to use it for a competitive analysis. And really, you're just using a comparison chart to say why you rock and why everyone else sucks. At the end of the day, makes it super clean and clear. So customers don't have to look at your competition. You already disqualified your competition for the customer. There's so many different infographic styles. These are only a few of them. We have the features, infographics, what's included, the before and after, where the product's used, what's actually in the product, how to use the product. And then of course, you want to make sure that you're also able to tell a story with visual indicators as well, like icons. If you are talking about something's good for a house, you don't need to say the word house, use the picture of a house. If you're saying it's good for a dog, use the picture like a bone or a paw print. And as you can see here, they use feather for 300 grams. They use water droplets for waterproof. And on the right hand side, they have a picture of a bone for bones, pretty simplistic. They have a stomach image for digestion. They have an image of eyes for eyes. It's really not rocket science, but we really want to make sure that we break it down and we use as many visual indicators as possible, because we don't have to think and we don't have to spend time reading. Our brain interprets it instantly. You guys know that it's 13 milliseconds. But at the same time, we see this a lot. You don't want to overdo your images with too much text, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking at this supplement on the left and I'm like, no, I'm not even going to read that. That's just way too much information. They didn't dumb it down and bring into small bite-sized bullet points. And they really should have been using way more visual representation to tell the story of the particular product. So here's some really great examples. Burt's Bees does an awesome job with their marketing, materials, and they don't really use hardly any text. They use all visuals to tell a story. So if you look directly in the middle, it doesn't take very long for you to understand that that particular lip balm that they're selling is mint chocolate. It's so easy to understand that, right? So this is what we want to be able to do. We want to be able to tell a story very quickly and very easily with our visual representation of our product and our brand, so the consumer understands it. And here's always a fun one, like, it's a party, it's a beach, they're using their product within it, and they're using little toys or whatever. It's awesome. It's simplistic. You get it. It's a fun, it's a good time. And then of course, on top of infographics, having lifestyle images, having really high quality professional grade images are ridiculously important as well. We already talked about how the quality of the image actually makes the consumer trust and know and like you more, which means they're able to purchase from you a hell of a lot easier. So, really articulating, what the product is used for, what the end result is. This product, obviously, it's an alcohol. It's bringing people together. They're having fun. They're making sure their pictures have smiles on people's faces, because people associate smiles. It actually ends up helping the conversion rates. It's pretty awesome. If you have an over-exaggerated smile or happiness, it actually helps with your sales and your conversion rates. So you really want to make sure you're relying heavily on all of that. And so if you think about how much you depend on all your senses when you're on site shopping with your sight, your hearing, your smell, your touch, your taste, or whatever, going through this and understanding like, okay, we totally get the importance of images. Now I understand I got to dive deeper into it, and I got to do a better job conveying what I'm selling and who I'm selling to and how they can use it, so there's no confusion for the customer, so they can make that educated buying choice. Would you not agree that the more visual interaction between the customer and the product is now the better, right? And so, before you get into having your staff member, you're hiring a photographer, a graphic designer, I really highly recommend that you take on the responsibility to do the market research and the competitor analysis yourself in advance. Super, super important. A lot of times people end up hiring graphic designers or photographers, and they show them kind of what their product is, and they show them their bare minimum basic listings, and they go, here, you go do it, and then you come back and you give me something. But they need direction. They need to be educated. You can't just trust that someone's going to know you and your business and your product and your consumer avatar better than you. You know it better than anybody else. So you have to do your due diligence and making sure you collect the information appropriately in order to be able to convey that information over to anyone that you hire to bring onto your team. And so creating an SOP, a standard operating procedure, about every single product, about everything that we talked about today, will make sure that everyone is in line, everyone understands what you're doing. They can write sales copy, they can write blogs, they can write product listings. There's so much they can do from one small standard operating procedure about each and every one of your products if you do the due diligence in advance. You can repurpose it over and over again. So I really highly recommend you can do that. And so what I've been able to do is we pulled all this thing together to help individuals who don't necessarily have a graphic designer on their team, or photographers. They don't have time or energy, or maybe they don't even have a budget because they're not exactly the easiest people to pay for or necessarily have the budget for. So what we've created is we actually have 175 drag and drop templates for 18 top selling categories, where you literally within 3 minutes take your existing product images, because everyone who sells something online has images of their products, and they literally just drag and drop them into the templates that we have here available, and you can upload them into your listing and have a higher conversion rates really within minutes. Especially if you have more traffic. More traffic you have, the easier it is to obviously see what's happening and get your results and your data. And if you have less traffic, obviously it's going to take a little bit more time to get that data. But if you go to productinfographic.com, there's a really mini small training program that also has that 3-step SOP document that I was telling you about, that you want to be collecting all your customer information, you want to be collecting your competitor information, and you want to boil everything down to the smallest bite-sized bullet points that you need to be using in your infographics as well as your lifestyle images. And this is really what it is at the end of the day. There are 175 infographics to help you guys move forward. And so what I really want to make sure that everyone gets super clear within their heads, even though we do help you with a tool that can get the job done really quickly. Maybe you already have access to some of this stuff, or you have a graphic designer on your team. Make sure you're diving into the main 8 points: what the product is, what the customer's pain point is, who is the product for, what's included, where is the product used, when is the product used, why is the product used, how do you use the product, and of course the end result of using the product with a call to action. And that's just me a little bit today, diving into the visual profitability method that I work with my clients, which is where you can turn your product listings into a moneymaker with the traffic that you already have. And that's about it for right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really quick, I want to challenge you. These swipe files, I've got them linked right below me down here. Can you share? I want you to actually go into them and just peek us around.
Oh my gosh.
If you've got,
I wish I had that. I'm like, I don't even know if I have
it's
that.
not even on the computer. Okay, I was testing you. I was just gonna see it because I think it's a really great opportunity. And what I like to do, and I see this happen in technology as well, that's kind of why our business exists, is we all want to see exactly what it is. So I want you to spoil us with a sneak peek if you've got it up. If not, we can move on to other things and other questions. We've got just a couple of minutes before Kunle jumps back in. He's resetting.
One thing I can do is I can share I can't jump into it right now, only because I have to go into my other things here. But let me share this screen. So I'm going to do this, share screen. And, I'm sorry about the music here, guys, but you're going to have some music for a second. All right. So if you go to productinfographic.com, this quick little video here just basically shows you how quickly and easily it is. And again, the music, sorry about that. So you're literally dragging and dropping your images, and you're already organized bullet points into the template.
I love this, actually. This could be, this is something I could use.
And that's about it in a nutshell. It's like, that's all that it is. Like, it's really that simple. It's absolutely crazy. So there's 175 different versions of them, and we have 640 different product listings that you can look at for inspiration. There's a 3-step spreadsheet that takes you through all the product research that by the time you get done, it auto-populates the very end result of the most smallest bite-sized important bullet points that you need to have within your visual representation. You hand that off to whoever you hired or anyone on your team, and there's no confusion. They don't ask you any bloody questions about the product or the dimensions or the weight or who it's for or anything. It's there, it's done, it's an SOP, and it's a live document, so you can always keep upgrading and collecting information as you go on. So it's one of those things that just it just makes the process 1,000 times easier.
Yeah, and you already showed us the results with one of your clients, and I think that's where everyone's looking at the. I always look at investment to revenue and time to recoup my investment. So I think if there is ever a moment where you're thinking that you've left money on the table by not showing your product in the right way, and actually one of the things that I talk to merchants a lot about when I am, I'm usually like reviewing their site and looking at technology products, but I'll often go to the product detail page and I see that the product is the core image is just the product with the white background. Have you tested this versus infographics and stuff? And like, what is, should we have white background at this point? Is it, what do you think?
Well, first and foremost, I think a lot of people who are watching this probably are selling like on Amazon or whatever. Like they have their damn rules. So like, no matter what we think or want or like, you want to play the big boys, you just got to follow their rules, and they want the white background. So it is what it is. But obviously we also understand, like really at the end of the day, just stop being a business owner for a minute, right? Like you can't see the picture when you're inside the frame. We're all too close to our creations, our products, our services, like what it is that we do. Like we all need that outside perspective. So stop being a business owner for a minute and stop being a product developer and everything else like that. And just think about the last time you went shopping online. Like we all do it, especially 2020. Like how many of us did not have thousands of dollars go through a credit card from shopping on Amazon? What are the things that frustrate the crap out of you? Like, it's really that simple. Like if you go somewhere and you need to get a shoe or a backpack for your kid or some arts and crafts freaking thing, and this one has like 5 components and this one has 10 components, but this one's more expensive, but this one, but I don't really know, if this one has like, I don't know, if, what I mean? Like how much buyer decision fatigue do you experience on a daily basis when you are doing online shopping? You want to minimize that energy and effort that a customer has to put into getting to know, like, and trust you. Because if you make it as seamless process as possible, they're going to love you. And then if you've done your due diligence, not only does your listing match your product when it actually arrives, which is building a product, which means you have a box that looks like it should be ready to go on the Walmart shelf.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have a great customer experience. So you're bridging that customer gap experience. And then from that moment on, if you have a customer retention strategy, like you were talking about beforehand, the community, the knowledge base that we're talking about yesterday, anything to kind of, support that, then you're creating that ecosystem of like, know, trust, you're getting that feedback loop and everything else along those lines. But it all starts with that very first impression. Like as much as you like to say, like, don't judge a book by its cover, but we do. We're human. Yeah. It is what it is. And we do it within 7 seconds. We also know that as well. So do everything you can to answer all the key customer buying questions as fast, as seamless as possible, like literally targeting the most, active part of your brain when you're looking at something, especially online, which of course is using visual representation to tell a story. And then, people are going to love you and they're going to remember you because there's 3 different components of our brain that has memory. And if 2 components forget, but 1 still remembers, they're able to regurgitate that feeling, that information, and be your automatic brand ambassadors without you even trying, because you just gave them everything they needed to remember you by. Really, is what it is at the end of the day.
And I love how you're
so that first lifestyle image. It's like you have to split test. Every product, every audience is a little bit different, and obviously differentiating yourself against what other people are doing is the easiest way to be a disruptor. But if you're selling on third-party platforms, you have to follow their rules. So white background.
Yeah. Good point. I do see some like opportunities to, I don't know, add flair or colors, or sometimes there's just like you had the bullet overlays or the kind of like pointing to it. And I think that what you're talking about, that I think people forget the most about this, and this is why the testing is so important. But you're actually saying that first impression product detail image, it can lead to higher retention. And I think that that's what people forget, because it's like, okay, conversion rate went up, but if you are split testing this over, the course of 3 or 6 months or something like that, you can actually see this cohort that got the better information across on the first impression bought from us more and more over time, because they understood the product in a deeper way. So I think that's that just goes to speak to the power of imagery in creating the relationship. And I sadly, I'd say even it kind of speaks to the neglect of merchants for not thinking hard enough about it. I'm sure there's somebody out there that's like, Derek, we care about this, but I talk to so many merchants, and I'd say over 50% haven't put a ton of thought into either the first image or the bar of images at the bottom. One final thought on that: user generated content and product detail images. What do you think about that?
Sorry, say that again.
Like putting in like reviews or user generated content right there on the product detail page.
Yeah, absolutely. Social proof is massively huge, because people love to, like, FOMO is a big thing, fear of missing out. Hello, you know what I mean? And people don't necessarily want to be sold to, but they'll listen to someone else's opinion or advice or suggestion. So honestly, at the end of the day, you should be repurposing every single bloody testimonial you got. Video, like share it around every social platform and portfolio, throw it into, of course, your storyboard image outline. Like, it needs to be there, because they're the ones who are selling your product for you. So you're not kind of like, like being spammy. Like, some people are like, oh, I don't want to be spammy. I don't want to be selling myself. Like, no, use other people to do it for you.
Yeah.
Just make them do it.
Just like the community building that Tom was talking about earlier. I think that's perfect. Awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Ashley, thank you so much for joining us today and yesterday. I learned something, and I'm sure the audience did as well. I look forward to having you back on a future event.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day, everyone. Bye.